Last day we proved this. Today we'll start with this. Let X belongs to A union B intersection C. Since it is in union, that implies X belongs to A or X belongs to B intersection C. That implies X belongs to A or X belongs to B and X belongs to C. Intersection means and. That implies now OR is distributing over and. So X belongs to A or X belongs to B and X belongs to A or X belongs to C. Now see, this is since it is or means in case of belongs to, or means union. X belongs to A union and X belongs to A union C. Now see, and means intersection. X belongs to these two sets, both the sets, and is in between. That implies X belongs to A union B intersection A union C. So I considered an element of this set and I proved that this being an element of this element is also the element is also an element of this set. So that establishes that A union B intersection C is a subset of A union B intersection A union C. This is our first. Now, secondly, I have to show this is a subset of this. Now we'll consider an element Y from this. Now, second part is very easy. After doing the first part, second part is very easy. I can tell you a shortcut. But let Y belongs to A union B intersection A union C. Consider. And write the steps upward, backward. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seven, six. It was now replace X by Y and write the from bottom to up. Say this. See the step. If you replace X by Y, you will get this. So next will be X belongs to A union B and sorry, not X, Y. Y belongs to A union C. Just notice that this step is nothing but this. Only X is replaced by Y. The next step will be Y belongs to A union means or Y belongs to B and Y belongs to A or Y belongs to B. Just notice that this is nothing but this step. Only X is replaced by Y. So go on replacing X by Y and move upward. You will have Y belongs to this. So simple. After doing the first, deriving the first one, second one is just replace X by Y and write from this direction. First this step, second this step. So bottom to right, just right. It will be just replacing X by Y. Then you will have this is a subset of this and the proof is completed. Okay. Now I am going to prove these two. Out of these two, I will do only one and another you have to do. Let X belongs to A union B complement. Since X belongs to its complement, that implies X does not belong to A union B. Now you notice this is A, this is B. And we know that A union B is the total. and X is not in A union B. That is, X is there like this. So this diagram shows that implies X does not belong to A and X does not belong to B. We already told that in case of does not belongs to, union means and intersection means or. Union means and. Hello. Now we know that in case of union, in case of inclusion, that is X belongs to, union means or, but not belongs to is union means and. Now see, X does not belongs to A. So X belongs to A complement and X does not belongs to B. So X belongs to B complement. Now see, symbol is belongs to. So and means intersection. So X belongs to A complement intersection B complement. Now see this set has arrived. I consider an element from the left hand side set, and by logic I prove that since it is in A union B complement, it will be also in A complement intersection B complement. That shows that A union B complement is subset of A complement intersection B complement. Next, let Y belongs to A complement intersection B complement. I told earlier that writing this is very easy following this. Just replace a look at these two steps. These are identical, only X is replaced by Y. So what you have to do, you just go on replacing X by Y and write this from this to this direction. So that implies Y belongs to A complement and Y belongs to B complement. Just see, this step is written just replacing X by Y. That implies Y does not belongs to A and Y does not belongs to B. Just see, this step is written here, just replacing Y, X by Y. That now does not belongs to, so and means union. In case of does not belongs to and means union. So Y does not belongs to A union B. See, just this step is written only replacing X by Y. That implies Y belongs to, since it is not in A union B, so it must be in A union B complement. Now see, this step is written just replacing X by Y. And that establishes that A complement intersection B complement is a subset of A union B complement. This is number 2 and this is number 1. So 1 and 2 implies A union B complement is equal to A complement intersection B complement. So proof completed. That implies Y belongs to A union B complement. Now we consider an element from A complement intersection B complement, and by logic we prove that it is an element of A union B complement also. That implies A complement intersection B complement is a subset of A union B complement. This is our number 2. This is our number. So 1 and 2 implies 1 and 1 and 2 implies the sets are, which sets A union B complement and A complement intersection B complement are equal. So this is good. Now comes third type of sums. In third type of sums, you will given universal set will be given. Sets are given. I have considered three sets A, B, C, and you have to prove these formulas like this. You have to ask to establish the validity of this formula. So what we have to do? Number one, we'll construct this set from the given data. So B unions. First B unions. Now I have to find out B unions. This is B, this is C. To write B union C, first write all elements of B. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 and 12. Then verify the elements in E which are not written here. That is 1, 3, 5, 6 is already 6, 10, 12 are already written. So this is B union C. Very easy. Next, A intersection B union C. So A is there, B union C is here. So you have to take intersection. That is the elements common in both the sets. So 1 is in A, 1 is in D. So 1 comes here. 2 is in A, 2 is here. So 2 comes here. 5 is in A, 5 is there. So 5 will come. 7, no 7 is there. 7 will not be included. 9, no 9 included. 11, no 11 is there. So this is the only set. A intersection. Very easy. Next, A intersection. A intersection. A is there, B is there. So you have to take intersection. So 1, no 1 is there. 2, yes, 2 is there. 5, no 5 there. 7, no. 9, no. 11, no. Only 2, single tone set. A intersection. Now A intersections come to 1 is there. 2, no. 5, yes. 7, no. 9, no. 11, no. Only 1 and 5. Now you have to take their union. A intersection B, union A intersections. So to take union, first we have to write all elements of the first set. Only one element is there. Now we have to check whether the all elements of these are taken or not. 1 not taken. Take it. 5 not taken. Now see these two sets are equal. Though the order of the elements are different. And ordering does not depends. So 1, 2, all elements are common. So these two shows that 1 and 2 shows that these two sets are equal. Now we come to second sum. A intersection B. First I have to construct A intersection. Now I just constructed A intersection B. A and B have only one element common, that is B. Next I have to take A intersection B complement. That is all elements which are not in A intersection B. All elements of S which are not in A intersection. Only one element is there. So I have to write all elements of S except 2. So it will be 1, 3, 4, 5, 12. You can write in this way. That means all elements in between 5 and 12 are included. To save time. Next, the left hand side set is already constructed. Now A complement. A is 1, 2, 5, 7, 1, 2, 5, 7, 9, 11. So A complement means elements of S except these elements. So A complement include 1 is there, 2 is there, 3 is not in A, so 3 will be there. 4 is not in A, 4 will be there. 5 is in A, 6 is not in there, 6 will be there. 7, 8, 9 is there, 10 not in A, and 12. So A complement. After that, B complement. B complement very easy, 2, 4, 6, 8. So the odd numbers. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11. Now you have to take their union. A complement union B complement is equal. First write all elements of A complement, that is 3, 4, 6, 8, 10 and 12. Then verify which numbers are not included in B complement. Which numbers in B complement are not included. 1 not included. 3 already included. 5 not included. 7 not included. 9 not included. 11 not included. Now, if I write it in order, I will say 1 is there, 3 is there, 4 is there, 5 is there, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. All are there. This is second, this is first. So 1 and 2 shows the sets are equal. 1 and 2 shows the sets are equal. এবার দেখো আমি তোমাদের একটা অঙ্ক দেখাই। এখন আমরা যে অঙ্কটা করতে যাচ্ছি সেটা হলো কোনো হোস্টেলের 67% ছাত্র ক্রিকেট খেলে, 80% ছাত্র ফুটবল খেলে। যদি এখানে দুটো অঙ্ক আছে, প্রথম অঙ্ক বলছে 5% ছাত্র দুটি খেলা না খেলে, তাহলে শতকরা কত শতাংশ ছাত্র দুটি খেলাই খেলে? শতকরা কতজন, শতকরা কত শতাংশ বলা উচিত নয়, ভুল বলে ফেলেছি আমি, শতকরা কতজন দুটি খেলাই খেলে। 2 নম্বর বলছে যদি প্রত্যেক ছাত্র অন্তত একটা খেলা খেলে থাকে, মানে এখানে 5% কোনো খেলা খেলছিল না, এখানে কিন্তু সবাই কোনো না কোনো খেলা খেলে, তাহলে কত শতাংশ ছাত্র একটি মাত্র খেলা খেলে? এইটা বোঝানোর জন্য আমি একটা গ্রাফিক্স তৈরি করেছি, তোমাদের গ্রাফিক্সটা দিচ্ছি, তোমরা এটা ভালো করে দেখো। এটা 2.5 মিনিটের একটা গ্রাফিক্স, ভালো করে দেখো, অন্তত 2 বার করে দেখো, তারপর আমি কিভাবে এটা খাতায় লিখতে হয় সেটা দেখাবো। মনে করি এই আয়তক্ষেত্রটা হচ্ছে হোস্টেলের বাউন্ডারি, অর্থাৎ সব ছাত্রের মধ্যেই আছে। এই লাল বৃত্তটার মধ্যে তারা আছে যারা ক্রিকেট খেলে, আর এই নীল বৃত্তটার মধ্যে তারা আছে যারা ফুটবল খেলে। তাহলে এরা হচ্ছে 80% মোট ছাত্রের, মোট আবাসিকের। এবার তাহলে কালার সরিয়ে নিলে ছবিটা কিরম দাঁড়ালো? এখন এই ছবিটায় কটা ভাগ আছে একবার দেখে নিই। এই লাল ভাগটা হচ্ছে তারা যারা শুধুমাত্র ক্রিকেট খেলে, এই নীল ভাগটা হচ্ছে তারা যারা শুধুমাত্র ফুটবল খেলে, এই হলুদ ভাগটা হচ্ছে তারা যারা দুটোই খেলে, আর বাইরের এই সবুজ অংশটা হচ্ছে কোনো খেলাই খেলে না। এখন বুঝে নেওয়া যাক কোন রঙিন অংশে কত পার্সেন্ট ছাত্র আছে। এই লাল বৃত্তটা হচ্ছে ক্রিকেট খেলা ছাত্রদের সেট, এর ভেতরে আছে মোট ছাত্রের 67%। এর মধ্যে দেখো এই হলুদ রং করা অংশে আছে সেই ছাত্ররা যারা দুটো খেলাই খেলে, এরা মোট ছাত্রের কত পার্সেন্ট সেটা আমাদের জানা নেই। আমরা যদি ধরে নিই এরা মোট ছাত্রের X%, তাহলে কি পাই দেখো, এই গোটা বৃত্তের মধ্যে আছে 67%, তাহলে এই লাল অংশে আছে 67 মাইনাস X%। ঠিক একই রকম ভাবে এই নীল বৃত্তের মধ্যে আছে মোট ছাত্রের 80%, আর এই হলুদ জায়গায় আছে X%, তাহলে শুধু নীল জায়গায় আছে 80 মাইনাস X% মোট ছাত্রের। তাহলে দেখি আমরা কি কি পেলাম। লাল অংশে আছে 67 মাইনাস X%, হলুদ অংশে X% এবং নীল অংশে 80 মাইনাস X%। আর প্রশ্নানুসারে এই বাইরের সবুজ অংশে আছে 5% ছাত্র। এবার এই পুরো আয়তক্ষেত্রটার মধ্যে যে যে পার্সেন্টেজগুলো আমরা পেলাম সেগুলো যোগ করে কি পেলাম, 67 মাইনাস X প্লাস X প্লাস 80 মাইনাস X প্লাস 5 ইজ ইকুয়াল টু 152 মাইনাস X%। আবার দেখো এই আয়তক্ষেত্রটার মধ্যে আছে কারা, সব ছাত্র, মানে 100%। তাহলে আমরা এখান থেকে কি সমীকরণ পেলাম, 152 মাইনাস X ইজ ইকুয়াল টু 100। এই সমীকরণটা সমাধান করলে আমরা X এর মান পেয়ে যাব, অর্থাৎ দুটো খেলাই খেলে এরকম ছাত্রদের পার্সেন্টেজটা আমরা এখান থেকে পেয়ে যাব। শেয়ার করে এই ধরনের অঙ্কগুলো আমরা নিচু ক্লাসে করেছি, তখন আমাদের কাছে এগুলো চিন্তা করা বেশ জটিল লাগতো। এখন যেহেতু আমরা ভেন ডায়াগ্রাম শিখে গেছি, এখন ভেন ডায়াগ্রামের সাহায্যে দেখবি এই অঙ্কগুলো আমরা কত সহজে করতে পারি। হ্যাঁ, কোনো বিদ্যালয়ে কোনো পরীক্ষার ফলাফল বিশ্লেষণ করে জানা গেল, কি জানা গেল, 58% ছাত্র গণিতে পাস করেছে, 61% ছাত্র ভৌতবিজ্ঞানে পাস করেছে, 65% ছাত্র ইংরাজিতে পাস করেছে, 43% ছাত্র গণিতে এবং ভৌতবিজ্ঞানে উভয় বিষয়ে পাস করেছে, 45% ছাত্র গণিত এবং ইংরাজি সকল বিষয়ে পাস করেছে, 44% ছাত্র ভৌতবিজ্ঞান এবং ইংরাজি উভয় বিষয়ে পাস করেছে, 38% ছাত্র সকল বিষয়েই পাস করেছে। প্রশ্ন হলো, তাহলে কত শতাংশ ছাত্র সকল বিষয়ে পাস করেছে? যদি 21 জন ছাত্র শুধুমাত্র ইংরাজিতে পাস করে থাকে, তবে মোট ছাত্র সংখ্যা কত? এই যে অঙ্কের সমাধানটা, এই যে অঙ্কটা দেখলে, এই অঙ্কের সমাধানটার জন্য আমি তোমাদের জন্য একটা গ্রাফিক্স তৈরি করেছি। তোমরা আগে সেই গ্রাফিক্সটা ভালো করে দেখো। সবাইকে বলবো এই গ্রাফিক্সটা অন্তত দুবার দেখবে। আমরা ধরে নিলাম এইটা হচ্ছে আমাদের ক্লাসরুম। সব স্টুডেন্ট এর মধ্যেই আছে, ফলে কত স্টুডেন্ট আছে এর মধ্যে? 100% অফ দ্য স্টুডেন্টস এর মধ্যেই আছে। এবার এই লাল বৃত্তটা দিয়ে আমরা বোঝাচ্ছি যারা অঙ্কে পাস করেছে তারা এর মধ্যে আছে, যারা ফিজিক্যাল সায়েন্সে তারা নীল বৃত্তের মধ্যে আছে, আর যারা ইংরেজিতে পাস তারা সবুজ বৃত্তের মধ্যে আছে। তাহলে দেখো এই হচ্ছে তিনটে বৃত্তের অবস্থান। এবার একটু ভালোভাবে আমরা দেখি এই অবস্থানটা। যদি দেখো মাঝখানে একটা জায়গা দেখো যেখানে লাল দিয়ে দেখাচ্ছে, এই জায়গায় কারা আছে? যারা অঙ্ক আর ফিজিক্যাল সায়েন্স দুটোতেই পাস করেছে। এবার দেখো আবার আমরা তিনটে বৃত্তে চলে আসি। এবার দেখো এই তিনটে বৃত্ত এই পুরো জায়গাটাকে অনেকগুলো অঞ্চলে ভাগ করেছে। আমরা সবকটা অঞ্চলকে আলাদা আলাদা করে রং করেছি। এই প্রত্যেকটা অঞ্চলে কিন্তু আলাদা আলাদা অর্থ আছে। এই ছবিটায় মাঝখানের হলুদ অংশটাকে দেখো, এই অংশের ছেলেরা হচ্ছে সব কটাতে পাস করেছে। এবার এই নীল অংশটা দেখো, বলো তো এটা কি? এইটা হচ্ছে সেই সংখ্যক ছাত্র যারা ফিজিক্যাল সায়েন্স এবং ইংরাজি দুটোতেই পাস করছে, এবং তাদের পার্সেন্টেজ হচ্ছে 44%। এই 44%-এর মধ্যে এই হলুদ অংশে 38% হচ্ছে সব বিষয়ে পাস করা ছেলেরা বসে আছে। তাহলে এই নীল অংশটায় কারা আছে? এই নীল অংশটায় আছে সেই সব ছাত্ররা যারা ফিজিক্যাল সায়েন্স এবং ইংরেজিতে পাস করেছে কিন্তু অঙ্কে ফেল করেছে। তাহলে এরা মোট ছাত্রের কত অংশ? সেটা এখান থেকে সহজেই বোঝা যাচ্ছে যে 44 থেকে 38 বাদ দিলে 6%। নিশ্চয়ই ব্যাপারটা তোমাদের কাছে পরিষ্কার হয়েছে। তাহলে দেখো ঠিক এইভাবে আমরা যদি এই লাল অংশ এবং সবুজ অংশটাও আমরা হিসাব করতে পারবো। এবারে সেই প্রথম বৃত্তটা, এটা কি রিপ্রেজেন্ট করছে? অঙ্কে পাস করা ছাত্রদের সেট। এর মধ্যে দেখো একটা লাল অংশটা 5%, হলুদ অংশ 38%, সবুজ অংশ 7%। তাহলে এই বাকি অংশটা কত পার্সেন্ট? কি করে বের করব? আমরা জানি পুরোটা 58%। তাহলে তার থেকে বাকি এই 5%, 38% এবং 7% বাদ দিলেই আমরা বাকিটা 8% পেয়ে যাই। একই রকম ভাবে হিসাব করে আমরা বাকি ফাঁকা অংশগুলো পেয়ে গেলাম। দেখো সবুজ অংশটা 12%, গোলাপি অংশটা 14%। তাহলে এবার এই ছবিটার দিকে যদি ভালো করে তাকাও, এখানে দেখো বিভিন্ন রঙিন যে অংশগুলো আছে, এই অংশের ছাত্ররা কোনো না কোনো বিষয়ে পাস করেছে। কেউ একটা বিষয়ে পাস করেছে, কোনো অঞ্চলের ছাত্ররা দুটো বিষয়ে পাস করেছে, কোনো অঞ্চলের ছাত্ররা তিনটে বিষয়ে পাস করেছে। আর এই বৃত্তগুলোর বাইরে যে সাদা অংশটা, সেখানকার ছাত্ররা কি সব বিষয়ে ফেল করেছে। তাহলে প্রশ্ন হচ্ছে এই যে সাদা অংশটায়, বাইরের সাদা অংশে কত পার্সেন্ট আছে সেটা কি করে পাবো? তাহলে আমাদের বের করতে হবে তিনটে বৃত্ত মিলে কত পার্সেন্ট আছে। সেটা কিভাবে বের করা যায়? ভেতরে পার্সেন্টেজ গুলো পরপর যোগ করছি। দেখো 8%, 5%, 12% সব যোগ হলো, হয়ে কত হলো? 90%। তাহলে বাইরে আছে কত? 10%। তাহলে দেখো এই অঙ্কগুলো কথা তোমাদের মনে পড়ছে, তোমরা নিচু ক্লাসে এই অঙ্কগুলো করেছিলে। হ্যাঁ, তখন মনে হতো কত কঠিন কঠিন বিষয়, কিন্তু আমরা যদি এগুলো ভেন ডায়াগ্রাম একটু এঁকে নিই, দেখো বের করাটা খুব সহজ। এরকম অঙ্ক কিন্তু তোমাদের 11-এর বইতেও আছে, তোমাদেরকে করতে হবে। এখন নিশ্চয়ই তোমরা এগুলো করতে পারবে। একটু ভেন ডায়াগ্রামটা এঁকে নেবে, কারা কোথায় আছে দেখে নেবে, তাহলে তোমরা এই অঙ্কগুলো Now I am going to discuss Cartesian product of sets. What is Cartesian product of sets and what is its definition? First starts with definition. Now see Cartesian product of sets A and B, where A and B are non-null. So product is only possible Cartesian product when the sets are not null sets. So A or B are two non-null sets. Is denoted by A into B and defined by A into B is equal to, now the elements are of the form x comma y, just like coordinate. This kind of expression we observe in coordinate, such that x belongs to A and y belongs to B. If I take some example, at least one example, it will be clear to you. Let A is equal to 1, 2, 3. B is equal to PQ. Then see A into B is first order pair 1P, 1 from A, P from B, 1 from A, Q from B, 2 from A, P from B, 2Q, 3P, 3Q. Just this. Very easy. So first element will be from A and second element will be from, these are called ordered pair, Krom Jugmo. These are called ordered pair, set of ordered pair. Likewise, we can take product of three sets also, A, B, C. In that case, elements will be looks like x comma y comma z, such that x belongs to A, y belongs to B, and z belongs to C. Now I can take product of plenty of sets. As much set I need, I can take product of 10 sets, 20 sets, 100 sets. No problem. Just maintain the order. If I consider B from C, if I let X is belongs to A, Y is from C, Z is from B, then it will be A cross C cross B. So since it starts with A, the first element will be A, from A. Second element will be from B, third will be from C. So if I ask you to write B cross A from these two sets, your answer will be first element will be from B. Take P1, P2, P3, no more elements in A to combine with P, Q1, Q2, Q3, and that's all. So taking product of two sets is very easy. সেটা আমরা এখানে এখন লিখব। Clear? If NA is equal to X, NB is equal to Y, then N of A into B is equal to N of B into A is equal to XY. Now see, this does not imply A cross B and B cross A are equal, because it is ordered pair. 2, 3 and 3, 2 are different results. P1 and 1P are two different results. Ordering matters. So this does not claim that this relation, the A into B and B into A into B and B into A are equal. It only says that they have the same elements, same number of elements, XY. If we take third sets C, NC is equal to Z, then N of A into B into C will be koto XYZ. You take A into B into C, or A into C into B, or B into C into A, or B into A into C, whatever combination you take, all have XYZ elements. Now you can count elements. Now, on the basis of this concept, there are few questions may arise. For example, if N into A into B has 13 elements, find NA and NB. Now see, 13 is a prime number. So only way you can express 13 as product of 2 now. 2 is 1 into 13. Or 13 into 1. If we take it 1 into 13, then NA is 1. If we take it as 13 into 1, then NA is 30. So I have to find NA and NB. So you have to write NA is equal to 1 when NB is 13, and NA is equal to 13 when NB is 1. This will be your answer. So your answer will look like this. Instead of 13, if you are given 32, then you are in a great problem. What are the problems? 32 can be written as 1 into 32 or 32 into 1 equal to 2 into 16 or 16 into 2 equal to 4 into 8 or 8 into 4 is equal to R1. No more result. So NA will be 1 when NB is 32. NA is 2 when NB is 16. NA is 4 when NB is 8. NA is 32 when NB is 1. So you have to write 6 answers. 6 possible answers. Clear? So these are the sums related from this concept may occur. N of A is equal to X. N of B is equal to Y. Implies N of A cross B is XY. So the set A cross B has A into B by A cross B has XY elements. So how many subsets do it have? It has 2 to the power XY number of subsets. Because we know that if an element, if a set contains X elements, then it has 2 to the power X number of subsets. So it has XY, 2 to the power XY elements. For example, if as we take the first, as our first example was, NA was 3, NB was 2, so N of A into B was 6. So it has 2 to the power 6 subsets. 2 to the power 6 subsets. Do you know what are the special name of these subsets? All these subsets are called a relation from A to B. All these 2 to the power 6, that is 64 subsets from of A into B are called a relation from A to B. This is the definition of relation. So to start learning about relation, we learned about Cartesian product. So from Cartesian product, the concept of relation occurs, and from relation, the concept of mapping or function occurs. And from the functions, the concept of limit, differentiability, and everything occurs. So whatever the calculus or whatever you say, all these begins from A cross B. A cross B or A into B is the beginning of the concept of calculus. Okay, from there. Now, a relation from non-empty set, note the word non-empty set A to non-empty set B is a subset of A into B. Since we are taking subset of A into B, it is relation from A to B. From A to B. If we consider a subset of B cross A, then obviously it is a relation from B to A. So follow the order of the sets. Since A occurs first, it is A to B. If B occurs first, then it will be B to A. So this is called a relation, definition of relation. Now see, if NA is equal to X, NB is equal to Y, then N of A into B is equal to XY, implies A into B has 2 to the power XY number of relations, number of subsets. That implies from A to B, there are 2 to the power XY number of different relations. For example, A is equal to 1, 2, 3. B is equal to PQ. Then, if A cross B, already written 1P, 1Q, 2P, 2Q, CP, CQ has 6 elements, implies 2 to the power 6, that is 64, that is 64 different relations. So there are 64 different relations between from A to B. Obviously, also from B to A, just ordered pair will be changed. In place of 1P, we will write P1, Q1, P2, Q2, then it is from B to A. Now, I will ask you to give me any of the subsets. How can you construct a subset of this? You choose at random any number of elements from this. Relations are denoted by capital R usually. Let's our first relation. In first relation, this is null set. We know that null set is subset of all sets. So null set is also subset of A cross B. So this null set is a relation from A to B. Null set is a, sets cannot be null. Sets cannot be null, but subset can be null. A and B are non-null. A and B are non-null. But you can take these relations or subsets, these subsets, any 6 elements different relations. So relation means a subset. So subsets can be null. So this is called void relation. Void relation or null relation. Void relation or null relation. আর বলো কোনটা কোনটা নেব? ধর আমি 1p নিলাম। এই এলিমেন্ট গুলো I have to construct this subset by picking elements from this among these 12 elements, 6 elements. I pick up 1p. Then I pick up 1q. Then I pick up 3q. I put it there. That's all. Only 3 elements. My first R2 contains this. So combining in this way, you can construct 64 subsets. I constructed 2. Say I constructed third one also, R3. It is 1p. It is 2p. It is 3p only. This is also a relation because all these elements are included in this. So this R3 is a subset of A cross B. So difference from a relation from A to B. R3 represents a relation from A to B. Say R4. I take 1p, 1q, 2p, 2q, 3p, 3q. Look at this. It is nothing but A into B. So this is also a relation from A to B because this subset is included in counted in this 64. This relation is called universal relation. From A to, we write it in this way. A arrow B means A to B. So this is called void relation and this is called universal relation from A to B. What is universal relation from A to B? Is A into B. What is universal relation from B to A? Is B into A. So very, very tough definitions. Now first I will define domain of a relation. What is domain of a relation? Domain of a relation R is equal to set of elements X such that X comma Y, this ordered pair belongs to R. If X comma Y ordered pair belongs to R, then we will take X in the domain. If not, we will not take X in the domain. For example, domain of R1. Now see, R1 has no element. So no ordered pair. So no X. So null set. Domain of R2. Now see, 1p in R2. So 1 will be there. 1q is R2. So 1 will be there. We won't write 1 twice. Since 2 elements are there, 1p and 1q, with 1 as first element, you don't have to write 1 twice. You have to write 1 once. Only once is 1. Because we know that in set, no element repeats. Now see, 3q is in R2. So 3 is here. So it is domain of R2. Now see, 2 is not included in R2 because there is no ordered pair which starts with 2. Domain of R3, 1p is there, so 1. 2p is in R3, so 2 will be there. 3p in R3, so 3 will be there. Now see, it is equal to A. But it is a proper subset of A. It is a proper subset of A. Because this is relation from A to B. A to B. Domain of R4. Now see, 1P is there. 1Q. 1 is taken. 2P is there. So 2 is here. 2Q is there. 2 is already written. And 3. That is equal to. So finding domain when a relation is given is very tough process. Is it? After domain, it comes range. Range of a relation R is the set of elements Y such that XY belongs to R. In case of domain, we consider the first element of the ordered pair. In case of range, we'll take second element of the ordered pair. And we know that second element comes from set B. So all these elements are elements of B. So it will be subset of B. It will be a subset of B. Now domain range of R1. R1 does not have any element. So it is null set of R2. Now see, 1P is there. So P will be included. Second part, 1Q is there. So Q will be included. 3Q is there. Q already written. No question of repetition arises. Of R3. R3 says 1P. P is there. 2P already written. 3P already written. Now see, this is equal to B. This is proper subset of P. R4, you can write R4 all has, P has, Q has, all has. So R4 is P and Q is equal to B. So finding range is also very tough. Now comes inverse of a relation R is ordered pair YX where XY belongs to R. তার মানে কি করতে হবে? Ordered pair গুলো change করে. So what we have to do? We have to change the ordered pairs. In place of 1P, we have to write P1. In case of R1, it will be null set. Inverse of R1, null set. R2 will be, it is 1P, so it will be P1. It is 1Q, so it will be Q1. It is 3Q, so it will be Q3. Just change the order. So very tough job. It is 1P, so it is P1. It is 2P, so it is P2. It is 3P, so it is P3. And R4. And it is denoted by R1 inverse. So it is R2 inverse. It is R3 inverse. So in place of what will be? It will be P1, Q1, P2, Q2, P3, and Q3. That is B into A. So this is very tough method of finding inverse of a relation. So finding inverse of a relation is a very tough job to me. It may be very easy job to you, but it is very tough to me. Next, after finding inverse, if you observe that what is domain of R inverse, R3 inverse? It is nothing but range of R. R3. What was range in place of R3? That is domain of R3 inverse. Domain of R becomes range of R inverse, and range of R becomes domain of R inverse. That you can easily understand. Now comes last thing for today is arrow diagram. That is very tough. I have to draw any one of these. Which one I will draw? Fine. R3. R3. And rest you can do. R3 from A to B. A has element 1, 2, and 3. Write it like this. B has element P and Q. Write it like this. Now see R3. First element is 1P. First element is 1P. So you have to write a arrow from starting from 1 will hit P. Since 1P in R3, so there will be a arrow which hit P. Since it is 2P, there is another arrow which hit P. And it is 3P, so there is an arrow which hits P. So this is arrow diagram of R3. So it is very painful to P. All three of A are targeting P. He is the lone target. Now see A and B are two sets having some elements, and the arrow diagram is given by A hits P, F hits Q, and F hits R, E hits T, and E hits star, and C hits T. This is arrow diagram. So from the arrow diagram, we can easily write the set, it in set form. So A hits P, so AP will be an element. F hits Q, so FQ will be an element. F again hits R, so FR will be an element. Then E hits star, so E star will be an element. E again hits T, so ET will be an, and CT will be my sex. This will be the relation. This will be the relation represented by this arrow diagram. Now from the arrow diagram, if I ask you to draw the arrow diagram of the inverse function, that is very tough. Just omit the A and reverse the arrow. Just reverse them. Reversing the direction of the arrows, we get the arrow diagram of inverse function. Just reversing the direction of the arrows, you will have the arrow diagram of the inverse function. And you can write the inverse function as, since arrow starts from this to this, so PA will be element, QF, RF, RE, PE, and TC are elements of the inverse, or the function represented by this diagram. Okay, so we learned about product of sets. We learned about counting the number of elements of product of two sets and number of subsets of product of two sets. And we defined the relation from a set A to B, and how many relations can be possible. We learned about void relation. We learned about universal relation. And we learned about domain range and inverse of a relation. Next day we will do some sums related to this. Okay.